the one, the only, Bencio. Good afternoon and welcome to Iyun to be into Lean On. Today we're doing, I said, quite possibly the most important siman in Shulchan Aruch. Now there's about 1,700 simanim. This is only 231 Reish Lamed Aleph. It's only even one halacha, but the basic theme of this halacha is talks about discretionary matters, things which are neither mitzvahs nor averos: eating, drinking, being together with your wife, chatting with people, sleeping. What's the determining factor? Should I sleep? Should I eat this? Should I be together with my wife? Should I chat with this person? Anything that you construe as avodas Hashem, honestly construe as bringing you closer to being a slave to God, you should do it. Anything that takes you away from that, you shouldn't do. That's what he says basically over here. You should not, anything you're doing, the eating and drinking, never think of, if you're doing it for pleasure, maguna, he says, it's disgusting. It's abhorrent. If you're doing it for serving God, then it's the right reason. When you're together with your wife, no, not for enjoyment. You're not allowed to enjoy it. Physical pleasure is not important. Not okay. Not okay at all. It's terrible. You should do it because you're porei chov. Either you want to have children, you want to have children who will serve God also, or that you have a debt to your wife. No one likes getting in debt. When you get in debt, you want to pay it off. But no one likes getting in debt and having to pay off their debt. It's not something we like to do, but we do it because we have to. It sounds like he's saying, like, enjoyment is the opposite of what's good in this world. Now, if I didn't know anything about the Torah, I would just ask a non-Jewish person, what's the point, what should be the determining factor in all your decisions in life? The rest of the world would say, things which are pleasurable, I should go after. Things which are painful, I should avoid. That's generally the human condition, right? People, human beings, free of religious ideas, they go after pleasure, they avoid pain. Here he's telling you the opposite. He thinks that are pleasurable, you should do them, but, because you need to. And he's not advocating causing pain to yourself, but he says basically starve yourself. Unless you need to eat, don't eat. Unless you need to sleep, don't sleep, which is basically torturing yourself. It's like living on a budget, exactly on a budget, a tight budget that doesn't have wiggle room. Here also, you have to eat when you eat, and don't eat anymore. Whatever is enough to make you live. Just sleep the bare minimum. That's pain. It's inflicting pain. It's avoiding pleasure. It's the opposite of what the world thinks. So you could say that. You could say the Torah is the opposite of the world. There's a famous Taz that's quoted by a lot of rabbis. Says somewhere, I don't know where he says it, but he says that the opinion of the Amaratzim is exactly the opposite of, I'm not sure, the Talmud Chacham or the Torah. It makes more sense to say Talmud Chacham. They think very differently. Talmud Chacham think the opposite of Amaratzim. Amaratzim are people that are working business, more engaged in parnasa and things like that, and worldly matters. They're not engaged in learning Torah the whole day. They have the opposite thoughts, and this is the Torah saying basically the point of the Torah. Talmid Chacham are right. The point of the Torah is to avoid pleasure and seek pain, to serve God, obviously, to serve God. But I don't think that's true. It says, you should be Ein lecha bein chorin u'misha osek b'Torah. It's in Pirkei Avos, right? The same place that this is coming from. Kol ma'asecha yu l'shem shamayim. Okay, it's questionable what that means. It doesn't say you have to be an Eved Hashem. But it says you should be a Ben Chor. And Ben Chor, it's good to be free. We're called Banim Lashem. We're distinct from the nations. We're Banim Lashem. We're princes, Bnei Malachim. Princes are not slaves. There's a very big difference between a prince and a slave. So you have to make up your mind. You want to be a slave or you want to be a prince? When you're a prince, right, basically you get all the good foods. You get all the good drink. You sleep until 10 o'clock in the morning. Maybe you could have multiple wives. I don't know, but you get a lot of the luxuries of life, which is not the life of a slave, obviously. So which one does the Torah really want? It wants you to be a slave to God, or it wants you to be a prince or a free man. You know, I once heard, I mentioned the regular shir, Yaakov Hillel, one of the biggest Kabbalists in the world, he gave a shir. He said that the highest level in Judaism is to be an Eved Ivri, meaning a Jewish slave. They have Eved Kaini, which is a partially non-Jewish slave. Eved Ivri is a Jewish slave. Now, an Eved Ivri only happens if you sell yourself because you don't have money to pay back after you stole. Doesn't sound like such a good thing. You know, to be an Eved, you know, Avram Avinu was told that, you know, in Bris Ben Absarim, the Ivdu Osam, you'll be an Eved, Arba Mos Shana. You'll say that's slavery to Paro, but slavery is not a good thing. Slavery is not a good thing to anyone. It's the opposite of the human condition, what human beings naturally feel. And Olam Haba is supposed to be a physical entity. According to all the Rishonim and Achronim, except maybe the Rambam, everyone believes that Olam Haba, Tchias HaMeisim, is baguf, is with your body, physical. And it's to enjoy those things. With your body, what? To learn Torah? With your body, you need a body to learn Torah. So it's all a physical thing. And the way we get to that physical thing, it makes sense, is through perfecting our knowledge of how to enjoy the world the most. I always say the real theory of the Torah is something called Epicureanism, which loosely, if, you know, it sounds like the word apikoros. Really, the word apikoros comes from the word Epicurean, who was a Greek philosopher who believed that someone should enjoy the world as much as possible, but do it in a refined, dignified manner. Do it with manners, with esteem, treat the other person fairly. You know, don't indulge in things that you don't really want. Sometimes, you know, you go to a restaurant, you buy something that because, you know, it's people tell you to order it or it's the most expensive thing on the menu, but you don't really enjoy it. You have to be honest with yourself. Do what makes you happy. And always do that. Let yourself guide you. Let your own conscience guide you. And the goal is to be princes, to be halacha, to be free people, like the rest of the world. Why do you have to be different? We always seek in modern day Judaism to be different than everybody else. No, be like the rest of the world. We seek pleasure for pleasure's sake. We avoid pain because it's painful. It's not different. Eating and drinking should be enjoyed. Being together with your wife should be enjoyable. You know, there's a lot of, you know, we just did a whole book on my channel. We did, it's called The Living Marriage, about marital intimacy. And at the end of the book, he has an appendix where he talks about what the Shulchan Aruch says over here. He repeats this also in Hilchos Even Ezra, where he talks about the halachas of ishus, of getting married. He echoes the same thing over here, the Shulchan Aruch. These are the words of the Torah, that you should be porei achol. When you're together with your wife, it's like paying off a debt. It's a terrible thing. It would be better if you wouldn't have to do it. No one wants to be in debt. And he goes on, how do you deal with the whole book, where he went on to explain that physical intimacy, the pleasure, is a good thing. Now, he doesn't say it's a good thing in of itself. It's a good thing, he says, because it brings you to, it helps you unify the man and the woman together, which is shleimus. But he agrees that its pleasure is good in the marital intimacy. But this is against the words of the Shulchan Aruch. So you really have to make a decision in life. Is this the correct philosophy of Judaism? Or is the correct philosophy of Judaism that it should bring you to enjoy the world better? And that's the whole point of the whole Torah, is to enjoy the world better. That is my philosophy, and I will try to prove that as we go forward through Shulchan Aruch, through Mishnayos, through Gemara. Because I'm a realist, I'm a regular person. I don't believe the Torah tells you to live a different life than the world. The Torah is an or la'amim. It's a light to the nations, to help what the nations want to do. They want to enjoy the world, to show them how to enjoy a little better. That's the point of the Torah. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.